Good afternoon, YouTube. We're going to talk Turo again, starting a Turo 2022. First of all, like, share, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Coming from me and a few others. Anyway, let's get right to business, guys. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about Turo. Obviously, just to throw you off, you can see that we're back in the Porsche today. Porsche's booked, though, right for tomorrow. And then right after that, I get back one day. And then it's booked for a whole week. So, you know, quite nice. I like it. But anyway, starting Turo 2022. So for those who are considering or thinking about it, this video is going to really talk to you more. So for those who don't know, when it comes to Turo, there's a lot of misconceptions about Turo. You know, you hear a lot of these people talk about making all this money, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of it is, yes, you're making all this money, et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of those people don't want to talk expenses. And if you guys watched my previous videos, you know that I have no problem sharing my expenses. About, you know, my journey starting this out, you know, because I'm a car guy. So, you know, I drive Lyft, I do Uber, like anything that involves a car, I try to do it. Involves me driving a car, oh, hell yeah, I'm all about it. This truck up here. But yeah, I'm all about it, right? So, you know, for those who are interested in starting a Turo, when you do your research, you know, I talked a lot about doing your research. So part of that research is knowing, first of all, what Turo is going to do for you and what you can do for Turo. So let me give you an example. A lot of people typically don't talk about Turo is a seasonal business. That's what it is. It's a seasonal business. And let me explain that, because you're dealing with, or you're relying on customers, you're relying on people. People have a mind of their own, right? You're relying on hospitality, travel, you know, all these kind of factors. And so because of that, Turo is seasonally based. And what I mean by that is because if you lived in Chicago, guess what? Summertime, oh, you're going to do fantastic. You're going to do great, obviously, depending on vehicles. But then come the winter, you're going to see a decline. I'm not saying that you're not going to get no bookings at all. You may, but you're going to see a decline, again, depending on vehicles. So it's up to you to really adjust yourself, adjust things, pricing, et cetera, to make sure that, you know, you keep up with your business. So one of the things I did when I started Turo, really, to be honest, like end of October. And when I started, I used my personal Mercedes. I was testing the waters, you know, the one car thing. Ooh, that was tough. Let me tell you, that was tough. It only gets tougher, but definitely having only one car, man, it's extremely hard. It wasn't until I got the Jeep I started really seeing, like, oh, you know, wow, this could be great. Put the power to it. Oh, come on, man. Woo! I love it, man. I love driving a Porsche. It's just so beastly. Like, it just really puts the power down. It's crazy. Anyway, I always get sidetracked. If you watch my videos, you know that too. But anyway, talking about, you know, knowing the Turo market, right? Like I said, if you live in a winter state, you will see a decline. So it's up to you to adjust your pricing accordingly. Something that I did when I was going through sort of the holidays, you know, November, December, you have to adjust your price accordingly. Obviously, that also depends on market. So, for example, here in Florida, I was able to upward my price a little bit more than the norms, and was able to get plenty of bookings because during the holidays, a lot of people travel to Florida. It's a known fact. So especially around those times, they're traveling to Florida, whether that be Orlando, whether that be Tampa, whether that be Miami, whatever the case may be. A lot of people are traveling to Florida. People need cars, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? The other part to it is knowing those little things. Knowing, hey, Super Bowl is this weekend. Even if Super Bowl is not hosted in your state, you can still price accordingly, you know, to give yourself that edge. Because guess what? People may want to rent a car to go travel down to a certain friend's house. You know, I'm just saying. Like this is an actual thing. This happens. You know, I'm not like making this up. So you just have to know, like, when you have certain, you know, events in your town, certain holidays, and things of that nature, you just got to be wary of, so you can adjust your pricing accordingly. Don't use, you know, I always hear this a lot. Don't use the automatic price that Turo gives. Let me to be honest, it kind of lowballs you a little bit. Nothing against Turo, but you know, their motto is keep the customers happy, keep the customers coming in. I'm not saying that they don't care about the host. They do. From what I understand, they've really gotten better at really connecting with the host, which is awesome. I know I have a pretty decent relationship with Turo. They're awesome. You know, they work with me on certain things, and they've just been fantastic to work with. Fuck out of here, Ford. Anywho's, sorry about that. You got people like they're trying to pass me. Come on, you trying to pass a Porsche? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? I hope you watch this video. What's wrong with you? Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's just kind of touching about that, right? So you want to make sure that you're pricing accordingly, okay? The other part to it is knowing your market, all right? So, for example, I'm in Orlando. It's pretty much sunny all year round. You know, for those who've never been to Orlando or think that Florida is always sunshine and palm trees, guys, we do get some cold days. I'm from New York. My blood ain't thinned out. There's some days that's, you know, it ain't like, oh my God, it's, you know, it's super freezing, but it gets pretty cold. And this is a recent thing, obviously, with, you know, climate change and things of that nature, but it does get a little cold down here. You will see snow in certain areas. That is, yep, yeah, you're right. I said it. You will see snow in certain parts of Florida. This is the thing. This happens pretty much every year. Anywho's, I want to say I have a pretty good understanding of my market. I'm in Orlando, Florida. Ooh, G-Wagon, black and red. See, I get easily distracted. Anyway, I'm in Orlando, Florida, and obviously most people who are going to come here are coming for what? Disney World, right? So they're coming to see the mouse, right? They're coming to visit the parks, not just Disney, but theme parks in general, whether that be Universal and amongst other places. But they're coming to visit, right? Especially when you talk about spring break and summer, people really come for really, you know, two things. They come for three things. They come for the warm weather and sunshine. They come for the beaches, and they come for the theme parks. This is just a known thing. You know, people travel down to Florida. So with that being said, the market here is pretty darn good for hospitality, people traveling, renting cars, you know, all that fun stuff. So the market is pretty good. Knowing that, you have to price accordingly, because guess what? With a good market also comes the competitiveness. What is going to make you stand out from other people? What is going to separate your cars from other cars on the marketplace? Because when most people come to Orlando, they essentially are trying to get the best price, which can mean cheaper, the best price, and they're trying to get the most reliable car. Now, from what I've learned, and really took a gamble, but I was doing my research, and I found out that people want high-end stuff, and they want to be pampered, okay? So knowing those two things, I decided to go with a luxury car fleet, essentially minus my Jeep, which I kind of consider a luxury car. It is a really nice car, but at the end of the day, it is a Jeep Grand Cherokee. I got that car because, according to Turo, Jeeps do really well, not Grand Cherokees, but Wranglers. According to my research, Jeep Grand Cherokees do really well in general when it comes to Florida traveling because people want to go to the beaches. Did I say that correct? I think I did. Anywho's, so you just have to make sure you're doing your research. Know what type of state you're in. Are you living in a warmer climate? Are you living in a colder climate? Because if you're living in a colder climate, you may want to consider getting all-wheel drive cars, right? These are the little details that you will need to do in order to make sure that you are successful at running your business. You're going to have a lot of people tell you different things, but I'm just telling you from my personal experience. I decided to go with a luxury car fleet. I've learned that people want to be pampered. They want to be seen in something nice, especially when they're coming down to Florida to visit friends and family and things of that nature, or even going to the parks. Guess what? I've learned that people want to be in a Benz when they're at Disney, just so they can show off to the mom fans, like, haha, look, you're in a Dodge Caravan or whatever it is, and here I am over in a freaking GLE. So I understand that, and I see that. So that's why I kind of decided to go that route, and it's worked out pretty good for me so far. But you just got to be like, really got to do your research. Don't just go buying stuff just because you feel like it or you got to like that. It's all about making money, right? Like for me, I'm super passionate about cars, but at the end of the day, yeah, I still need to pay bills. So, there's a balance there, right? So, but you guys want to make sure that you're definitely doing your research, because that's what it comes down to. Make sure you know what kind of market you're in. Make sure you know what kind of clientele you're going to be dealing with. Like one of the things that I do in my Turo business, not just Turo business, but car rental business in general, is that I try to always meet my guests, and so that way I can talk to them and get a better understanding. Because when you're booking a car, or when someone books your car, you really kind of just see a small little tiny picture, which I hate. I wish I could expand it, or check out their Facebook. Like, Turo should allow that. If you're listening, please try to allow that. Like, or check out someone's Instagram, just so we can get a better understanding. Because I think if we were allowed to do that, we would then filter out, the potheads, the people who look like they don't take care of themselves. Why would they take care of your car type of person, right? We can kind of filter out, as hosts, we'll be able to filter out those kind of things. I'm not saying, cancel trips right and left, because that's just not a good thing for the platform. But we should be able to at least get a better understanding of the people we're renting our car to. Like, I know it's a peer-to-peer car sharing. That's why I think that we should be able to look at someone's Facebook. However, on that note, being the smart person that I think I am, Turo does give pretty much their full name. So you are able to essentially search that person on Instagram or Facebook, so you could get a better understanding. Would it be easier to have a link? Yes, much easier. So Turo, if you're listening, try to put that into play. That'd be awesome. But that just gives me a better idea of the person I'm dealing with. I like to look at what kind of cars they favored on Turo. Did they favorite mine? Did they favorite other high-end cars, et cetera, et cetera? That way you kind of get a better understanding of the person. Because if they favor a lot of high-end cars, this tells me one of two things. This tells me that this person does not drive high-end cars and that they want to, which means what? Essentially, they are going to take care of your vehicle, okay? And then if they, the other part to it is it can be tricky, but it's like it's a one in a lifetime shot, I feel like. But you get someone who's used to high-end cars and they only want to drive high-end cars, right? Mercedes has kind of this slogan, drive the best or something like that. I don't remember it, so don't quote me. But it's basically like once you drive the best, why settle for less? So like if you're someone who purchased your first Benz, would you go back to a Honda? Just saying. I'm not saying that we all have egos the size of Kanye West, but once you buy a high-end car and you drive it and you realize the difference, it's kind of hard to be like, yeah, I'm gonna go and buy the base Honda Accord. You probably won't ever again, unless you're doing it for turo, unless you're doing it for money. That's different, But this is just, this is facts. I'm not making this up. I have to open the exhaust a little bit. Ooh, you hear that? Oh my goodness. Anywho, guys, I wanted to talk more about it. So, right, market research. Once you've done that, got a better understanding of how things work and how things are. And then here comes the fun part, buying cars, right? Because that essentially what we're all here to do, buy cars, make money, buy cars that essentially are going to pay for themselves. Imagine if you can go and buy a Porsche that pays for itself and gives you a little extra couple dollars in your pocket. Why wouldn't you, right? But like I always tell, like I've said in my last videos, is that when it comes to buying a high-end car fleet, or just a nice car fleet in general, when it comes to that stuff, you need a good 9 to 5. Okay, now I don't work a 9 to 5. I work 10, 11 hours, but I'm just mean in general. Like, you need a good 9 to 5, something that allows you to buy nice things, because when you do decide to go and buy cars for your fleet, for Turo or other platforms, what's going to happen is when you buy a car in your business name, for example, right, you're going to need to show that if your business tanks, you can personally guarantee it. That's what it is what it is. Don't let no one tell you that you can buy cars in your business name and you don't have to PG it. PG meaning personal guarantee. You do. And unless you have a well-established business for a long time and it is proven that it can stand on its own 2 feet just fine and dandy, then you don't have to personally guarantee it. But if you're just kind of starting out a couple months ago, whatever, yeah, you're gonna have to personally guarantee it. It is what it is. You do that now so that way you can build for later. You understand? That's how you essentially build passive income, right? We're not going to talk about that right now, right? Because that's kind of what Turo is, right? Passive income, essentially. And that's kind of how you do that. That's kind of how you build that, is that you have to build first in order to enjoy your fruits later. You understand? So, it's so crazy to think like how someone can make Turo so passive, and you really can. There's a way. Obviously, you got a lot of places out there who's like, oh yeah, we'll be your management company where we can do everything for you, and you got to do nothing but collect money. They make it sound fine and dandy. It's not. I recommend doing it yourself, unless you have an extremely large fleet, which is raking you in, $200,000 a year. Then yeah. But if you're someone with under 10 cars, do it yourself. Trust me, you'll save so much money and headache, and you'll actually enjoy it and understand more about the business. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, the other part to it is once you've done all your research, you know your stuff, now you're buying cars. A good 9 to 5 gets you in the door, gets you in the ballpark, right, for buying nice high-end cars. Now, here's what I recommend. If you can, put zero down. If your credit is decent or good, put zero down. That's what I did for a couple of my cars. Zero down. Pay no money down. Why? Because essentially that's money that you need to eventually make back up, because that's your profits, right? So like I said, if you could, put zero down. Because if you put zero down, guess what? Now you're not eating into your profits, right? If you put money down, think about it. You got to make that money back, right? I know you got to spend money to make money, but you spend money that early, that's profits. That's eating away to your profits. So yeah, if you can, zero down. Depending on your situation, zero down. And is it 2:57 or another time? Pretty sure I'm late for work. Oh, it's 3:19. So I was about to say 2:57. Anyway, that's not sure. But if you can, yeah, zero down. Zero down all day. I always recommend it. I always tell people to do it. Don't put any money down, because like I said, that's eating to your profits. The other thing is, when you're buying cars, decide what kind of fleet. Do you want to do a mixed fleet? Do you want to do a cheaper fleet? From what I've learned, there's a girl on here, I forget her name, so I can't give you a shout out, but she talks a lot about how high-end cars on Turo is not such a great idea. Yes and no. It just depends how you do it. If you're a smart, savvy business person, again, I don't think I'm a smart, savvy business person. We'll see in a couple of years. I'll let you know. But if you're a smart, savvy business person, there's ways to go about that and really scale your fleet doing strictly luxury cars. My opinion, it also depends on market. It also depends on state that you're located in, et cetera, et cetera. But my opinion is this. My opinion is, when people first really started going on to Turo, and I'm not talking about when COVID happened, I'm talking about pre-COVID. Turo's been out for a number of years. But when people were first really going on Turo, they were mostly looking for luxury cars. It's because at the end of the day, everybody wants to be spoiled and pampered, and they want to look flashy and better than the next person. This is kind of almost human nature. So knowing that, you provide a service of luxury cars, right? Obviously, you want to make sure you're getting these luxury cars priced at the right point. And what I mean by that is that you don't want to be overpaying for a luxury car. If a car pre-COVID was $50K and now it's $80K, yeah, you understand what I'm saying. I don't need to go further, do I? These people are crazy drivers around here. I thought I was a crazy driver. I guess not. And now it's worth $80K post-COVID, right? Houston, we have a problem. You don't want to do that, right? And if it was $50K pre-COVID and you paid, I don't know, $60K, it's still very tough, but it's the world we live in at the moment. So make sure you're doing your research when you're buying your cars. You don't want to be really overpaying for cars. Like I've heard of some Kia Stingers being like $80K. And I mean like the base Kia Stinger. I'm not talking about like the really nice one, like the base. Like, what? Does it make sense? Does it make sense? I wouldn't. And cars like Kia Stingers are not super hot. That's very random. But cars like Kia Stingers are extremely hot on the market. So, they're not extremely hot on the market. So it's not one of those things where, yeah, you're comfortable to pay 70, 80K for one. But then what's going to happen is the price point is probably going to be on Turo. It's probably going to be something like under $100 a day. Easy. And unfortunately, that would mean that you're going to work extremely hard just trying to make the payments on a car like that. So, I mean, just be careful, guys, when it comes to starting up this business. Don't go out. We talked about this. Don't go out paying, 50K, 40, 50K for some Hondas. Don't do that. Okay, be careful, because a lot of these dealerships, especially here in Florida, and I don't mean just Central Florida, all of Florida. Maybe not North Florida though, but pretty much all of Florida. Just be careful, because a lot of these places are overpaying by stupid numbers. Crazy numbers, I'm telling you. So just be careful. Anyway, that's all I got. That's all I got, guys. Have a good one. See you later.